Have you felt like giving up at any point?
Absolutely. He's seen the idea, and he's, don't give up, man. Don't give up. I'm telling you, keep fighting. And it was just hard to get money. Like, you run out of money. I had this idea, but I don't have a plan. You know, you go to your family and friends, you borrow, and you're like, all right, I owe you. Here's a piece of paper. I owe you this, and I owe you that. You know what I mean? So, I'm a kid from the Bronx. I don't have money. Investor's going to give me cash.
But you've got all these celebrities, you know. Is it, like, frowned upon to reach out to them and try to pull them into this, or do you have to try to make it on your own?
It's tough, man. Your family's always going to help you. It's hard to ask for friends for money. I had to learn what the business plan was going to be, how we were going to make money, the cost of the business. I was bouncing a lot of stuff off of my wealthy friends that had retired and had business experience, and they kept asking me, show me the business plan. Like, how are you going to make money? And I'm like, let me get back to you. You know, I'm trying to build the company to get it, and they're like, okay, is this investable? I didn't understand that piece of it. You got to kind of do both at the same time.
Welcome to Mission Control. At Peralta Design, we launch brands. But for now, let's launch right into this episode.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Welcome to this episode of Mission Control. This is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands. And we've got a special edition. It's going to be a sports edition, as we got our friend in the room, the president of Pinnacle Basketball Group, Oliver Antigua.
Thank you, Ramon.
Welcome.
Happy to be here, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Welcome, my Dominican brother.
Yes, sir. I see Mimo.
Dominicano. Oliver, I can't wait to jump on in because you're coaching basketball. You sell sports equipment. You got an extensive. You're doing color commentary. You're trying to take Walt Frazier's job now.
That's right.
So we can't wait to dive into that, man. But before, we have to commiserate, as the face of the New York Giants is no longer. Rest in peace. Well, let's not say
that's a little.
He didn't die yet. But
he's just dead to you now.
He's dead to me.
To be fair, he will be reborn.
He will be reborn.
On a team that actually wins
He's going to
games.
rise like a phoenix on the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's good. See?
Oh, my God. I just
up for the Eagles winning the NFC East next season.
He does deserve a ring, although I don't want the Eagles to win. But somehow, I think we just didn't treat him right. You know,
No.
He played his hand. I don't think that they'll ever find a player as loyal.
No.
This man put it out there. I want to retire a Giant. I want to be a Giant, and they played him for it. It's like the good guys finish last kind of trope. That was the story.
Yep, and that also comes with management making just a lot of bad decisions that weren't his fault. You know what I mean? Granted, I will say there is some part of it that is tied to his he's been injury prone since college.
True.
And that's continued on his whole career. So it was like, how much of a whole season do you get out of him?
But also, is he injury prone, or is he just the only player on the team and they keep getting him 35, 40 touches a game?
Okay,
especially during
artificial turf.
during a lost
6
season.
to 1, half a dozen of the
during
other.
a lost season,
Right.
and then you're going to give him the ball 35 times. Like,
What he
come on.
said.
Right.
That's what he said.
Definitely, beat them into the ground. But the Eagles I didn't realize they had lost Swift, so they were in the market.
This whole
it makes sense.
Offseason is already bananas.
Yeah.
It's exciting in that I love to see the moves that are happening and what these new, what these player changes will change to, the face of the team. But like you said, there's nobody now on the Giants to me that is like that franchise face.
He was the face. I don't know what the locker room feels like right now because we gave Danny Dimes all this money. And Saquon's like,
I
what
can't
about
even call
me?
him Danny Dimes. It's like
I know.
that hasn't worked.
DJ, Daniel Jones.
Daniel
Just call him his
Jones.
full
That's
name.
it. It's all he gets.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, they gave him all this money. A lot of fans, at least in the groups I'm in, aren't confident in what he's going to do, and I don't know who's next in line to be our Justin Tuck or the face or the guy that's going to rile these guys up on the sidelines was Barkley. I mean, he was the captain essentially.
The
He was the leader.
He was
You
the
could see
leader.
that. They respected him. You got respected the guys in the locker room.
Yeah,
And
so
that's important,
It is. I mean, I don't know who's that guy now. It's definitely not Danny, because when we saw Tyrod play or even Tommy Cutlets play, it was the same
I'll never
team.
getting this.
Yeah, how do we get that? The Italian, the hand gesture there that he made famous. It was the same guys on the field, but the energy changed
Entirely. They
You know what
weren't
I mean?
playing like that.
They played hard. It's like you play for your leader, and so it wasn't the team. You know what I'm saying? It was Danny. And now when he takes a helm again, sans Saquon, what do we look like out there?
I don't know. That's a great question.
What's gonna
Not a
happen?
football team, that's for sure. It's crazy.
And what were some of the other trades that you would mention? You say Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
And,
Cousins to the Falcons for like a four-year, $180 million. I think right before we came in here, too, Josh Jacobs to the Packers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I guess they're going to cut Jones. I guess they're going to release Jones.
Yep. Aaron Jones is gone.
Who else? Wilkinson to the Raiders.
Which is huge. I know the Pats were hoping to pick him up.
Which I didn't really hear of a big thing, but Gabe Davis to the Jags.
Yep.
Should be interesting.
I still can't get over Mac Jones going to the Jags. That's
his days are over. The Patriots fans there did not like him.
No.
Listen, as a basketball guy, I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Oh,
I just know that the GM better bring some athletes, guys that can block,
Yeah.
so the guys don't have to run for his life, and you got to fill the hole of the running back because you need those tough 3-4 yards.
Seriously.
Because the Eagles aren't going anywhere, the Cowboys aren't going anywhere, and the Redskins or whatever they call the Commanders just hired a new coach or whatever they're doing. So
Well, Russell Wilson is a Steeler. That's another big
Oh, yeah.
news point there, and we'll see what Tomlin can do with him. My favorite Russell Wilson quote is, "Can I have 2 drugs, please?" Oh
It's
man,
hilarious.
yeah. But let's talk basketball, Oliver, because that's your lane, right? No pun intended. College basketball in particular. So what do you see? What are your predictions for this March Madness?
this is the greatest, after the Super Bowl, for me, it's the greatest time of year. You have conference championships, the Big East starting in Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. UConn basketball is the #1 seed, top team in the country. Huge support, huge following there.
UConn, go Huskies.
So, Connecticut merges onto the Big Apple, and they really take over the city. So you got that thing to look after, and who kind of challenges them in the Big East tournament. You got the ACC tournament in D.C. I'm a Pitt guy. I went to Pitt, so they're a top 4 seed, and Carolina is the 1 seed that just beat Duke. So you got that to shuffle out. See who's going to win the ACC. And then my brother's the associate head coach, University of Kentucky. Shout out to Coach Cal and the Kentucky Wildcats. Huge road win against Tennessee 2 days ago. They won at Tennessee. Tennessee was 4 in the country. So now they're on a rise, getting hot at the right time. And they got all these young players and a veteran senior, Antonio Reeves, mixed together. And they're like a dangerous team kind of to watch out for in the March Madness, as nobody wants to play them. So I'm crossing my fingers that Kentucky gets to the East region, which means UConn will be in the East, and it could be a UConn-Kentucky Elite 8, Elite Sweet 16 matchup.
What are you guys gonna do, brother versus brother?
No, I'm hoping it goes because it's in Barclays the first round. I don't got to get on a plane and go watch them in Brooklyn, and then just get on the train to Boston. Those are the 2 sites for the East.
Yeah,
So
nice.
if UConn gets the 1 seed, man, they're going bus to Brooklyn, bus to Boston. And that's a huge advantage for their fans, man. They should have a home court advantage.
yeah.
The
Should be
only time they're
noise.
getting on a plane is to go to the Final Four in Phoenix.
Right.
Energy should be off the charts. Oh, my God. It's exciting. It's exciting to see this. I feel like as in Connecticut, we get split up amongst a lot of our fan bases. You're either a Massachusetts team fan, fan or a New York fan, and to have everybody rally behind the UConn is great.
Yeah, that's our team. Up until the Connecticut United comes out into the MLS.
That's true.
Then we're going to have a united team. But right now it's UConn.
And I want to shout out the UConn staff because Danny Hurley and I were both high school coaches together. I coached at St. Raymond's and he coached at St. Benedict's. And we coached against each other in North Carolina in a national tournament. He beat me in overtime, so he got the advantage. His dad is a legendary coach, Bob Hurley Sr., one of the best to ever do it, Hall of Fame, St. Anthony's High School legend. And St. Raymond's and St. Anthony's always played before the playoffs every year. It's 2 Catholic schools, New Jersey, New York. We had this tradition that we always play iron sharpens iron. and we've had some great battles, and then we go on our playoff run. And Kamani Young, associate head coach from UConn, is from Brooklyn, and good friend of mine in the basketball community. Does a great job recruiting, and will be a head coach someday soon. But shout out to those guys and wish them luck during the Big East championship.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear all about how you even got into basketball. Stay tuned.
If you've got an innovation that you want to bring to the world, the first step is making sure you've got a great domain name. Visit shop.spacehost.pro to grab your domain name today and begin your new venture and your new business. Shop.spacehost.pro.
I told you I was born in the DR, and my family came to New York when I was 2 years old. And my mom and my aunt actually brought us over to the Bronx and grew up on Marble Hill, a section of the Bronx. And it was my mom, my aunt, my 3 brothers, and my 2 cousins in a 1-bedroom apartment. And
yeah, totally normal.
Right.
Growing up in the hood.
Yeah, and we just, we had a great upbringing. Our parents cared about us and made sure we went to school. Mm-hmm. Went to PS7 in the Bronx, in the Kingsbridge section. Then we moved to Fordham Rd, and that's where we kind of lived the longest. So I'm from Fordham Rd in the Bronx. That's where all my friends and family are from, and we call it the block. Got into sports at a young age. All of our friends in our neighborhoods, we all hung out and played baseball and basketball and stickball and football. And, growing up in the Bronx, you got you're pitching, and then the car's coming up the street the one way. You say, oh, car's coming, you got to move over, let the car through, and then you get back in the field. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's such a lost moment, like just being outside until the streetlights came on.
Yeah,
that was the whole, just got to be home by then.
Exactly. So, did football, wiffle ball, hitting the ball and cracking windows, across the street.
Yeah.
That was third floor windows, a home run. You know what I'm saying? I'm Don Mattingly with the bat. That was my favorite Yankee, and grew up doing that. And the older guys, we talk trash, and we had a great neighborhood because my brother was a few years older, so he had his friends, and they would look after the younger guys. Yeah. It was kind of a whole village.
Kept you out of trouble, I
imagine. Absolutely. And then we love sports, love basketball. My brother was, 6'7", so obviously everyone wanted him to play basketball.
What did you guys eat? Because Dominicans aren't that tall.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
I'm tall in my family.
You know what? My grandmother was a tall lady. She was about 5'11", and my mom is pretty tall for a woman. So we got good genes in the family.
Good. A lot of plátanos and
mofongo. Rice and beans and all that. So we drank a lot of milk for a pound of rice. Milk and cereal was like our go-to staple for breakfast. Growing up. But so my brother was 6'7", so he played basketball and went to the Gauchos gym and. Legendary 149th Street and Girard Avenue in the Bronx. It's a basketball oasis. Built this safe place for kids to go. And from Devo Park, they came and recruited my brother. He went to the Gauchos. He was a 8th grader and 13 years old. And they taught him how to play. And they helped us go to high school. And we went to St. Raymond's High School in the Bronx. And then my brother was 2 years older than us, so he went to school first, and then I followed second, and then my younger brother's 1 year younger than me. Then at one point, all 3 of us was at St. Raymond's High School.
Wow.
And I can't say enough about the people at St. Raymond's, the Christian brothers, the pastor, Monsignor Kavanaugh, who to this day is a mentor and is in my life, 40 years later.
That's awesome.
And they reached out and kind of like took a public school kid and said, no, you can be educated and learn. We're going to teach you, and you can make something of yourself. Yeah. So that foundation was important. That Catholic background and experience, and especially I want to mention Brother Ramon, who passed away. He was the principal. And I never forget, because my mom, she didn't have any money to pay for college, high school tuition, in college, Catholic school. So, we needed help. And Brother
Financial aid and everything.
Brother Raymond got a sponsor, an alum who wanted to give back and help a family who couldn't afford to get a college Catholic education. And I walked into his principal's office one morning. I was a freshman, skinny, and and he said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to this guy here. He's gonna pay your tuition. His name is Jim Duncan, and he's gonna be your mentor, and he's gonna help you. And as long as you do good grades, your tuition will be paid." and huge influence in my life, very special to me. Taught me how to play golf, taught me about the importance of God and family, and was in every milestone in my life was a huge part of shaping me as a young man, and I wouldn't be who I am today without his impact. So
That's incredible.
A lot of gratitude to the Duncan family, Jim, Betsy, his wife, his daughter, Kirsten. They just brought me in, and the Dominicans took over because he lived in Connecticut. So the Dominicans came to Wilton, and we just like Sunday church and the
Bachata.
yeah, they're like, oh, there goes the neighborhood.
But good for him, man. I mean, we need more people like that. I think that's a big part of our kind of value system here. We try to give back. We have a young man here who's from Colby, which is a Catholic high school here. He comes here on Mondays to do his internship to help pay for his tuition. And, none of us make it on our own. There's always someone to help us, and the idea of paying it forward is so crucial. So, I mean, shout out to him. And there was something about that, I imagine, that made you feel like, I got to live up to this. And, like you had this opportunity, right? And you didn't want to squander it.
That's right. Just thankful that somebody, took their time out to care about me and my education and my just my overall development as a young man in a kind of a crazy world, right? Where all things are around you with the media and the music and the drugs and all that stuff. And here's this little small Catholic school in the Bronx educating and doing a phenomenal job of graduating kids, giving opportunity and changing families.
Yeah. And so take me through your college experience. You're at this school. You kind of expected to go to college, and you had an older brother that had gone on.
Yeah, so my brother was a top 50 player in the country. He was getting recruited by everybody and all the top coaches. And Rick Pitino at Kentucky recruited him. At Kentucky, the Rutgers coach recruited him really hard, and so did Pittsburgh. And they love Pittsburgh, and so he decided to go to Pitt to play for Coach Paul Evans, who coached David Robinson at Navy. Then got the Pitt job, came back to recruit my brother. That's right. Yeah. And Coach Evans recruited my brother, offered him a scholarship. Once he got in, I went to Marist College because Jim Duncan was an alum to see the school, and I went to Pittsburgh. And being from the city and saw the big campus and the city life, I said, I like it here. Mm-hmm. Marist was a little more suburban and it was on the water. Smaller. And I didn't understand that. Yeah. So I was like, my brother's over there, let me go over there. So I went to Pitt following him, and then my younger brother went to Carnegie Mellon. So at one time we were all in Pittsburgh, and then my mom even moved out to Pittsburgh. She got a job while we were in college working in housekeeping in the hotel business. And we just, she came over and cooked for us in college, and all the basketball players were, why are you guys always at my house on the weekends? Because my mom is cooking that slamming Dominican food, you know what I mean? So everybody was eating. They love my mother because, it beats the dorm food. So went to Pitt. I was a walk-on at Pitt. My brother was a star player there. And when I graduated Pitt, I was offered a assistant coaching job, and I was the youngest Division I assistant coach in the Big East. I was 22 years old, and I was an assistant coach. I went from a manager to a college coach, and that was special, great experience. Didn't last too long. We had a tough year, and we got fired, and then we lost our jobs. And then I called my high school coach.
Based on the record?
Yeah.
They're
the
not
team.
playing.
Yeah. If you don't win in college, you got 4 or 5 years. And
the funder is probably motivation from like the people that donate to the school are like, hey, we want a winning record. Get rid of these guys.
That's right. Exactly right. So it's big pressure in sports and a lot of expectation. So if you don't win.
What was your biggest lesson there? Even though you got fired, I'm sure you learned some lessons in leadership.
Oh, for sure. One of the things that, again, being just appreciative of the opportunity to be around young men and like transfer from a player to a coach, coaching the guys I was just playing with, learning how to separate my friendships from business and learn how to be like more professional, right? So that was a transition for me, and that also was a challenge with the athletic department. They knew me as Oliver, the basketball player, and now I'm an assistant coach. There was a lot of that learning going on, but great people around made it really an easy transition for me. The ups and downs of college basketball and the pressure of recruiting and being successful is very hard to do, and not a lot of people are good at it. So the ones that are really good at it stay a long time, right? The Dukes and the Kentuckys and the Kansases, and to sustain success is very difficult. and even harder now with this whole NLI business and transfer portal.
Right.
And when I played, you had to go to your college, you commit, and if you transferred, you had to sit out. It was a penalty. So people didn't want to transfer. They just kind of toughed it out. Now,
They're more loyal.
if you don't like, how he played your last game, you could transfer and leave. So totally different college environment.
Yeah, different culture. Yeah, but then you look at somebody like a Gino Auriemma, and you can respect how do you sustain that level, of excellence for so long. And what were some of the challenges, and just kind of I picked up on what it must be like to switch gears and lead the folks that you were just playing with. Did you have a mentor, for your coaching abilities as well?
So that's a great question. I was looking up to the assistant coaches that were helping me learn the business.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was at Pitt and I coached for Ralph Willard, the assistant coach was Tom Crean, who became the head coach of Indiana, Marquette, coached Dwayne Wade, and Georgia, and had the kid at Minnesota who's a stud. The name escapes me. But whoever's Minnesota's best player besides Karl Towns, Tom Crean coached him. Jimmy Christian, who was from New York, from Long Island, and Troy Weaver, who's now the GM of the Detroit Pistons. So that was our coaching staff. So we all worked together, and those guys helped me learn the business, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
And you maintain those relationships now into what you're doing today?
Absolutely. So, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, I saw a lot of times the NBA guys come to the summer AAU circus to recruit, Nike YBL. So you see the GMs and go there, so you bump into those guys. And, I followed Coach Christian's career, coached at TCU and Boston College. And Tom Crean's now doing TV, so he's always around doing Kentucky games. You see him on the air and all that stuff. So.
What'd you end up majoring in?
I majored in sociology and a minor in Latin American history.
Nice. So tell me about, you graduate, how soon did you jump into BSN? And then I want you to lead us right up into Pinnacle.
Sure. So went back to St. Raymond's. I was a coach at St. Raymond's High School. I taught history there, economics, for 12 years. Won 3 city championships as a head coach. First head coach to win back-to-back championships in the first 2 years of the league. The league's got a remarkable history, so I was really proud of that. And then my last year that I coached in 2012, I won the city championship, and then I went on to college. I took a job at Manhattan College as an assistant coach. Then I went on to coach professional basketball in the Dominican Republic for the Leones Club in the capital. Shout out to Eduardo Nahari, who gave me the opportunity. And traveled to every town in the Pro League, in the Dominican Summer Pro League, and got to see all the arenas and all the teams and the love for basketball. And I just kind of just sparked this idea of Pinnacle Basketball, being down there. I did that for the summer, came back, and I got a job at Seton Hall University for Kevin Willard, who played with me at Pitt, and his dad was the coach for us at Pitt. Worked a year at Seton Hall. And at that time, my brother became the head coach of South Florida. And then I went down to be his assistant at South Florida. And kind of like Pitt, we didn't win enough quickly, and they asked us to go home. So I got a job at BSN Sports and Sales. I came back to New York. I've been doing this for 8 years now. BSN Sports is located in Dallas, Texas, and we're the largest team dealer in the country. So we sell Nike, Under Armour, Adidas to all the schools and colleges, kind of in a large quantities, wholesale, team bulk types of sales. And it's been great, just learning about the business side of sports. We do $1 billion in sales. When my CEO told us about Amazon and us striving to be like Amazon with delivery and reliability, just kind of opened my eyes to all the possibilities of combining what I know in sport, in the sporting world, and now in this sporting goods business side. Kind of gave me some ideas, and started thinking about how I can leverage my what I've learned in both.
Right. And I mean, I just want to put out there that you're a friend of the family here, the PD family, through Mikey and his dad. They
The
both
Catellas.
the Catellas. They spoke very highly of you, and so here you are. I mean, they vouched for you, and they couldn't say enough about you, how great of a person you are.
Well, they're special people. I met the Catellas through Don Mileto, who's running the Boys and Girls Club and helped with the financing. And Mikey was the CEO of Stanford Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
And they were doing a new construction project. And I was able to help put together all the equipment that was needed for the Boys and Girls Club of Stanford. So we built that club up, very proud of that. Did a great job for the community. That led me to a referral to the Wakeman Boys and Girls Club, which just opened up their $25 million new facility. We did all the gyms and the backboards and the hoops and the batting cages and the wall padding for that project as well. So, so Connecticut's been like my second home. I'm like the Boys and Girls Club guru for BSN.
Yeah. So you're covering this whole Northeast.
Correct.
With BSN. So when did you have this? I know you mentioned you're inspired when you went to DR and you toured everything, but like when did the gears click that, okay, I'm going to launch Pinnacle?
Great question. When I graduated college, my mentor, Jim Duncan, sat me down and told me about writing down goals and the importance of putting idea to paper. And I didn't understand why he was giving me that. And this was a successful businessman. He worked for Comdisco, and they built the company in the 80s. And he was one of the top salesmen in the country, and went high up into the company. And so he was kind of instilling the knowledge of just got out of college. Let me give you some skill sets that are going to help you. And I never forget. And I was like, why is he making me do this task? I just got out of college. I don't want to sit here and write these goals down. What the hell? I'm trying to get a job, right?
Yeah.
So he's telling me, write the goals down and how you steps to go ahead and do it. And so I could not believe 20 years ago, I wrote the idea for a Dominican basketball tour, and I found the damn paper that Jim Duncan made me write.
Wow.
And when I pulled it up and I said, holy crap, this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But he made me do the exercise. I didn't realize at the time.
It was like manifesting it. You planted the seed that it was going to happen one day.
And so a good friend of mine, Hugo Yanis, works at the Harvard Club. And so, you call your friends for, whatever. So Hugo, I need a conference room. I'm having our first meeting with Pinnacle. Yeah. So our first meeting was in Harvard Club Pinnacle conference room. And we had everybody calling in.
So is that where you got the name?
No. I'll tell you a story about that. This is a good story. So we're in the Harvard Club, and I have a TV producer from California. I have our buddy who's runs a ad agency company in Colorado. A bunch of staff people that we recruited on the thing. Leo, my buddy, flew in from Tampa on the plane, and we just got everybody together. And I take out the document, and I just say, guys, I just wanted to show you this. I said, a lot of the people that are in this room were listed. This was my goal. This was my dream. And you guys all had jobs 20 years ago. And, I'm looking around. I was like, now you're my partner. You were there. My cousin was on there, and it's like, it was kind of like a wow moment for me. Like, I didn't realize that, as you're busy in life and things can take you off course.
But the team was like assembling before your eyes.
And I didn't even know it. And I know. So that was like a special moment for me. So 2018, I said, all right, I got BSN business. I got these ideas. I'm kind of learning about gyms and wood floors and bleachers. And I was like, okay, I can kind of build an arena, and we could do this here, because the DR didn't have a great arena where I wanted to have the tournament. So I said, all right, we'll build it in the ballroom. So I called my construction contact, sends me to Long Island. I go to In Production in Long Island, and I do a tour. They sell they actually built the Hard Rock football stadium in Florida for Miami Dolphins. That's the company out of Long Island, and BSN is a vendor. So I use my resources. I go, hey, tell me about how to build the arena, because they did one for they did an outside arena for the Under Armour Elite summer game. I don't know if you remember, like the And One tour, the Rucker Park stuff. They used to do all the All-Americans. So they did a stands outside with bleachers, hoops, wood floor, and outdoor in the summertime. Pretty cool. The DR rains a lot. I was like, we can't do that. Got to be indoors and AC. So we found a ballroom, got the specs, kind of like built up this arena. It's like, all right, we could put about 3,000-4,000 people in the thing. So it kind of just started clicking, And so 2018, I get on a call with all my boys. Fellas, I got this idea. I want to start this company. Sweat equity. We got no money. Who wants to help build this thing? And from like 6 or 7 guys, we got down to 3. It was myself, Leo Estasio, who's my My first friend I met at St. Raymond's High School as a freshman. He played baseball. I played basketball. And my cousin Gabe Rodriguez, who unfortunately passed away from colon cancer a few years back. But there was 3 of us. And so our company's has got 3 mountain peaks for Pinnacle. And, we want to be the best at the top of the college basketball tournament. So we said, let's do Pinnacle. And then Navy and white, man, because I'm a diehard Yankee fan. So that's our
Bronx,
colors, man.
yeah.
Yeah, so we got a Yankee touch. Leah worked for the Yankees. I love the Yankees. I went and got Yankee jerseys done with my PBG logo on it, embroidered it, and gave it to as a gift to, hey, here's our company started launch, and now we're off and running.
Nice. So the initial mission was to start to do tournaments around the world, or do them just in the DR?
In the DR. Because as a college player at Pitt, I went to Puerto Rico, played in a Puerto Rico shootout. I went to Hawaii, played basketball in Hawaii. And that was in the 90s, And the Alaska shootout had won for many years. And then it went away. And all these tournaments started popping up. And I'm like, why not DR, man? We got the best beaches. Tourism is unbelievable. We could do it better. And we could do it for a lot more affordable for families and fans. And I just thought it was a great idea, and just little by little, man. But it has taken a while, and some tough. It's 5 years of trying to get this thing off the ground.
Have you felt like giving up at any point?
Absolutely. And Mikey Catella Sr., who's kind of been a mentor to me, he knows he's seen the idea, and he's don't give up, man. Don't give up. I'm telling you, keep fighting. And it was just hard to get money. Like, you run out of money. Everything costs, you run out of money. And like, I have this idea, but I don't have a plan, how I'm going to make money, who's going to give me money. So, you go to your family and friends, you borrow, and you're like, all right, I owe you. Here's a piece of paper. I owe you this, and I owe you that. You know what I mean? So, I'm a kid from the Bronx. I don't have money. Investor's going to give me cash.
But you've got all these celebrities, access to all these folks. Is it like frowned upon to reach out to them and try to pull them into this, or do you have to try to make it on your own?
It's tough, man. Your family's always going to help you. It's hard to ask for friends for money.
Yeah.
And I had to, I didn't know what the true value of the business. I had to learn what the business plan was going to be, how we were going to make money, the cost of the business. So I was bouncing a lot of stuff off of my wealthy friends that had retired and had business experience, and they kept asking me, show me the business plan. Like, how are you going to make money? And I'm like, let me get back to you. I
want to see like the return on the investment.
Exactly. So I'm trying to build the company to get it. And they're like, okay, is this investable? I didn't understand that piece of it. You got to kind of do both at the same time. Here's the dream. Here's the vision, put it on paper. But then how do you make it make sense for somebody to say, all right, I believe in this. I think we're going to
they want to see like,
business.
how soon am I going to get my money
Exactly.
back?
Exactly. So that was the hardest challenge.
So I know you can't get into all the details, but there's some exciting stuff brewing that's, potentially very close to happening. And I know you can't go deep into it, but give us the big picture of how this is going to work and how it's going to, change the landscape of college basketball.
Sure. So Pinnacle Basketball Group is a sports and entertainment company, and we're going to focus on college basketball in the NCAA. November is the early tip-off season, and everyone gets excited, and it's the new time of the year. And the college teams can go out and play neutral site games against good competition, which helps their resume for this greatest time of year, which is called March Madness. So every team's got a conference, but your non-conference schedule gets compared to other conference teams. So if you don't play anybody, it's going to hurt your seeding. If you play good teams in neutral sites and you win, that boosts your profile. And if you lose, it doesn't hurt your profile because you played a good opponent, right? So if you play, Syracuse never left home, right? Syracuse played 16 home games every year, and they were 16-0 before the thing started. Well, that was looked like frowned upon in terms of the scheduling because you never left your home court. You just beat up, you pay people to win, right? So now people started getting hip to that, and they started all these metrics to measure one resume versus another. And so this whole idea of playing neutral sites. So people go to New York for one game. People go to Vegas. They go to Hawaii. They go to the Bahamas. And they go play these tournaments because it's a great fan destination. It's an early time of year for people to get to see their new team. And if you can get away from the Northeast in November into some nice warm weather and get on the beach, why not? So we are working on putting together a college basketball tournament for the fall of 2025 and working with everybody in the DR right now and trying to get everything put together so that we can announce our first field and get to work.
That's
so a lot of
exciting.
exciting things happening right now.
That's exciting. So once that happens, we're gonna manifest that it is gonna happen. Once that happens, is this something you see kind of developing a logo for that every year it happens and you can look forward to it, and that's kind of what Pinnacle's gonna focus on?
Absolutely, man. Branding is important because sponsorship helps pay the bills. And so we have an event that's going to be watched by millions of Americans on television and has a lot of marketing and branding opportunities out there for a title sponsor, a presenting sponsor, and local companies that want to, expose Dominican products to Americans that don't normally get to do so, and just kind of expose them to tourism. Somebody from Nebraska or Iowa has never gone to the Dominican Republic. They see it on TV, but they'll come to watch their team, and I'm hoping they fall in love with all the beautiful things, the culture, the food, the people, the music that we have to offer. And that's kind of the sell. They'll leave the Dominican Republic and tell 5 of their friends, you got to go to Punta Cana. You got to go to Santo Domingo.
And where would the tournament be? Would it be in the Santo Domingo or a different spot?
Good question. The first year, we're targeting La Romana.
Okay, that's where all the baseball players, all the baseball camps, right?
Yeah. So it's a great location because it's in between 2 airports, a beautiful hotel area. They have a nice professional arena, and that in 2025 we're going to launch there. The Capitol has the largest arena, which holds 9,000 fans. And El Polideportivo, and they are renovating in 2025 a complete regut, basically making it a brand new NBA arena, because in 2026 the Dominican Republic is hosting the Pan American Games.
Oh, wow.
Bringing all the countries in the Caribbean to the Santo Domingo for a basketball tournament. And so that arena will be made brand new, NBA quality for these college kids who are all pro. So I wanted to make sure that the tournament launched in 25 so we can bring the best teams in the country and showcase Santo Domingo and that brand new arena in 2026.
Absolutely. I love it, man. You were like the prodigal son. You came back to St. Raymond's, as a coach after that life-changing experience, and now you're coming back to the motherland with another life-changing experience.
Yeah, and as someone who's left and was raised there, but all my family is still back there. You feel that sense of I needed to touch my roots and feel, what it was like. Because why me? There's kids that are in Haina or Constanza, where my mother's from, that will never have a chance to leave.
By the way, best curried goat. So
why did God bless me to get on a plane and come to New York and get educated in America and learn the American dream and learn all these things that I can come back and help. And obviously a big part of me is who I am with St. Raymond's and that mission of the Christian Brothers. So you better believe there's going to be some community outreach and touching of some young people and education and bringing all that together. So these are college athletes, but they're also college students. And they're going to be a professional in sport, or maybe a professional engineer, or professional actor, or professional podcaster. All that's possible. Just don't have to play baseball to get off the island, right?
Exactly.
And you can stay in the island and go to college and learn to be a professional in the Dominican. So just kind of all those opportunities to show the young people that you could really change your life if you take it seriously.
Absolutely, man. What a great message. And where can people find out more about Pinnacle and kind of just stay up to date on everything that's happening?
So we have our website, pinnaclebbgroup.com. And we are launching now, so they can go on there now and kind of see what's coming, and they'll be updated periodically.
All right, and then you're also doing some color commentary. So if people want to hear you call the games, where can they listen to that?
Sure. So I am part of the Varsity Media Group back in New York, and We just called our city championship game in the New York Catholic at Fordham University. That was yesterday, won by Stepinac High School from White Plains. Back-to-back city champion, and their best player is a kid named Boogie Flan, who's from the Bronx. Dominican. He's Dominican.
So he's Boogie Flan.
Boogie Flan. And he's going to play basketball at the University of Kentucky. So my brother Orlando Antigua
He's waiting for him.
recruits the best guard in New York City and get that New York City Dominican pipeline,
Nice.
just like Carl Towns did years prior. So Carl Towns I coached Carl Towns on the Dominican national team when he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And because he did that, he couldn't play for USA Basketball. He could only play for one national team. So we snuck him before he got good enough, put him on the Dominican national team, and that's why he played in the national team this year in the World Games. So Carl Towns also played for Coach Cal in Kentucky with my brother, and he was the #1 draft pick for the Minnesota Timberwolves, who also has part ownership with A-Rod, who's also another Dominican.
Absolutely.
A little plug there. For A-Rod.
Go back, get it back.
Well, he showed everybody how Dominican he is when he came back so dark. He made news.
He got tan.
For a suntan. He was redeeming Sammy Sosa, who went the other way.
The other way.
Hey man, it's been great having you on the show. God bless you, everything you're doing for these kids and for this tournament and for having this big vision and for giving back so much to your community.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Mission Control. Until next time, this is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands.